Alrighty-o. It is Sunday, it is 12 o'clock now, and it is time for the podcast. Keeping it steady, keeping the routine, showing you every Sunday what I have been doing the entire week, talking with you about personal development and how I have incorporated it into my life in the last 7 days. But first things first, last week on the podcast I said that I would get some Christmas lights, get some Christmas decoration going. Actually behind the camera, which you can see right now, there's like a big window, so I get some light in here and we put up some Christmas decoration there. Maybe I'll do a cut in afterwards and film it a little bit so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Other than that, I have to admit I didn't buy any candles yet, but what I got is this here. And where is it? Ta-da! Not sure if you can even see it. Does it show? Not sure, maybe it's too bright. It's a candle, electric candle. I got it out of my mom's advent calendar. And if you're now saying, Moritz, you're 30 years old, you're a grown man, you live by yourself, do you really need an advent calendar from your mom? The answer is yes. Well, actually it's not exactly my advent calendar, it's a calendar that my mom made for my girlfriend because my girlfriend never really celebrated Christmas before. She's Chinese, they don't really celebrate Christmas over there, so she's not that familiar with like all the traditions and all the rituals that come with Christmas, and I love Christmas. So in order to get her a little bit more hyped about the whole thing, I told my mom like, okay, it would be great if she got like a Christmas calendar, and my mom is really into that kind of stuff, like making things and, you know, being creative, being inventive. So it's not only like chocolate in it, it's actually, oh sorry, thought I needed to sneeze there. It's actually every day has something related to Christmas that me and my girlfriend can do together, like, you know, going to the Christmas market, or of course we had the 6th of December, like filling our shoes with chocolate, which at least in Germany is very common to do. And so every day there's something new to do. Every day we get to wake up being excited about what's gonna be happening on that day, and then we do our best to make that happen. So one of these days this candle was in it. So now at least I have one candle for the second Advent podcast here today. All right, so what do I want to talk about today? Actually, this last week has been one of the laziest weeks that I have had in a long time. And I'm gonna get into why. But first I want to talk about how weird it feels to actually not do stuff. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, oftentimes we waste so much time. We're being so lazy and we're so used to wasting time on social media and, you know, just staring at stuff that's not even that interesting to us, that we don't even care about. Then on top of that, we're watching TV, we're watching sports, like all these different activities that we do, which I would call lazy. If there's no work involved, if there's no effort involved, if it doesn't make us grow and develop ourselves, if it's not something that is actually that fun to us. Like, I'm not against fun at all. Like, sometimes maybe the way I talk, it sounds a little bit like, you know, you guys should only hustle, you guys should only try to grow and develop and never have fun, never meet out your friends, never go, you know, enjoy life. That's not at all what I'm saying, but I feel like oftentimes we are doing stuff that is actually not that fun even. And we just do it because it's like mind-numbing and that's what we want to have at that particular moment. So how weird it is to actually not have anything to do the entire day is what I experienced this week, because I am gonna start my new job at the old company where I worked before tomorrow. So because of that, I gradually wrapped up all the different projects that I've been doing, all the different things that I had to do while I was running my own startup, doing my company. I was pretty much always busy, you know. I've been doing that for almost 1.5 years, and I never had a day where I was like, oh, nothing to do today, I guess. Guess I'm going back to bed. I never had that until very recently. But the last couple of weeks, since I knew that I would go back to like a full-time job, I wrapped up things gradually and it became less and less work on a day-to-day basis. And the last week particularly, I really had nothing to do, if I'm being honest. So that was a very unique and weird experience, because I feel like a lot of people see that as like the ideal scenario for themselves. Like, you know, when people say, oh, I wish I would win the lottery so I can quit my job. And you ask them like, oh, what would you do if you quit your job? Like, how would you spend your time? How would you fill that gap in your life? And they would be like, oh, I just want to lie on the beach and do nothing. I just want to have a drink in my hand and like enjoy life, you know? And like in the first second that sounds cool and all, but then you actually think about it and you're like, wait a second, you would do that for the rest of your life? Like will you rent a room in a hotel somewhere on the beach in Bali or Thailand, and then every single day you would just go out and like eat eggs and bacon on the breakfast buffet with all these fat tourists around you, and then you would go to the beach, to your hammock or to your bathing towel, and you would just sip on your margarita or daiquiri and watch other people get sunburned? Like, that's your ideal life? Really, dude? So I think like a lot of people think they would want having nothing to do, but when you actually have it, it's not that fun at all. And that's what I experienced this week. Like, for example, like my girlfriend went to the town where she studies back again, so I was home alone. And on Thursday, there was like two friends that I usually go to a co-working space together with. They were both not in town, so I had no incentive to go there. On top of that, I knew that I didn't really have anything to do anyways. So what did I do? I basically stayed at home, you know? Stayed at home, slept in, had a long breakfast. At the same time, I was watching South Park, which I haven't done in years, to be honest. But they're still funny, still pretty hilarious. I was surprised. Really spot on guys who create that. But that's beside the point. Then you read the online news, and then you're basically done. I mean, there's only so much you can waste your time with, right? And then you get to that point where you would usually fold down your laptop, be like, okay, time to start the day, time to be productive, even if you had a slow morning, time to get shit done. But that's not what I did. Instead, stayed at home, didn't go outside the entire day, kept watching South Park, even though I was, you know, beyond that point where it's fun. You know what I mean? Like, you watch 1 or 2 episodes and you're actually enjoying yourself. It's actually fun and you're like, oh shit, this is hilarious. But then when you watch like the 4th episode, the 5th episode, you realize like, oh, I should be doing something else. Like, even though I have nothing to do, this is not fun anymore. And you're getting to that point where you're just wasting your time. And at the same time, you don't have anything urgent to do, so you don't have that pressure that forces you to snap out of it. So you just keep going down that road, and you get lazier and lazier. And at some point, it's like 3 p.m. and it gets dark here in Sweden. So then you're like, oh, the day is basically done anyway. Like, no need to save it now. And, you know, it just keeps spiraling down, basically. Like, okay, time to watch porn, I guess. time to watch silly YouTube clips, I guess. Like all these mind-numbing things that just waste your time. This is what I did on Thursday. And the funny experience was that it doesn't feel good at all. Like you feel so discontent with yourself by the end of the day, and you feel so unhappy that you didn't bring up the willpower to do something productive with yourself, that it's the worst feeling, honestly. Like I can imagine like when people, maybe they're like drug addicts or they're alcoholics and they have been abstinent for 30 days, 60 days, whatever, a year, and then they relapse. And you think it would make you feel good, but actually you just feel shitty about yourself, and you feel shitty that you're not being a productive member of society. That's kind of how I imagine those people feel after they relapse, and that's definitely how I felt on Thursday. And in the evening, then my girlfriend called me up, and usually I love chatting with her. We always have a blast together, just joking around. But I was in such a bad mood and like in such a passive state in general. Like physically, I did nothing but just lie on my bed the entire day, and mentally, I did nothing to stimulate myself and get witty. The entire day, I didn't talk to anyone. I just interacted with the internet basically the entire day. So when my girlfriend called me up and she was like chatty and talkative and having fun and telling me stories, I was so passive and just didn't react at all to her stories that she got mad at me. Like she got pissed by my attitude, and I didn't even notice that I was doing anything wrong particularly. Just didn't feel chatty because I was so in my head. But then, of course, later I reflected on it and I was like, yeah, shit, I was really just like, staring at another screen, staring at somebody talking, just like I had been doing that the entire day. So no wonder she got pissed. No wonder she felt like I was not engaged in the conversation at all. And I guess you can really feel that vibe from people when they're not fully there, if you know what I mean. Like, imagine, probably all of you have felt that kind of feeling after being on a screen, particularly for a long time, and not interacting with other human beings, as we're supposed to do. Like, just genetically, just historically, that's who we are. We're social beings, we love interacting, and I truly believe that it doesn't matter if you're an extrovert or an introvert or whatever your deal is, we need social interactions to be content with ourselves. Some need more, some need a little bit less, but we all need it to some degree. And if you take that away from us, it's not gonna end well and it's not gonna look pretty, and you do get these kind of zombie-looking people who they're not fully there. They can be smart people and they can be doing high-level jobs, it's not like they're dumb or anything, but they're just not engaged with life. They're just not engaged with the world. And that's how I felt on Thursday night. And it was miserable. So, and from that point, it starts so small, like in the morning you sleep in a little bit and then you watch like one episode of South Park and then another one just because you have the time for it. But it's really like a downward spiral, and it sucks the willpower out of you to do something else with your time. Like I was supposed to go to the gym, I didn't do that. I was supposed to, cook a healthy meal for myself. Just like very basic things suddenly become like this huge effort if you go down that road. And like instead I just ate oatmeal instead of like cooking myself something proper and nutritious, because then I realized I have nothing in the fridge and I would have to go to the supermarket. And even though the supermarket is literally like 50 meters away maybe, I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna eat oatmeal because I have some oatmeal left and some milk and that's all I need. Which is not good, And then I was supposed to go to my public speaking club this week, didn't do that. So it's like it just accumulates and becomes more and more stuff that you didn't do, even though you knew you were supposed to. And you become this slacker, and you become this kind of person who's like, you can, I can do that tomorrow. I'm gonna put that off. I'm not gonna do that now. I can just chill now, even though I chilled the entire day and didn't do anything else. And yeah, on Friday I realized, okay, I need to snap out of that. So I went back to the co-working space. My friends were back, and even though I didn't have a lot of work to do or anything, we just hung out, and it was fun, and I was a little bit productive, even though I could have been more productive. And then afterwards we had like coffee because it was my last day at the co-working space, going back to my job on Monday. So we just hung out, and then of course, like later it ended up becoming alcoholic drinks, and we went partying, which is something I haven't done in a long time. I used to love partying. People who know me, like they can vouch for that. When I was in my early to mid 20s, like until I was 26, I was going nuts when it comes to partying. Like 3 times a week, 4 times a week, living it up, enjoying the student life, drinking way too much, living way too unhealthy. So I'm happy I left that behind, and nowadays I don't do that anymore to that extent. Like definitely not as often that I go out, and if I go out, I don't go out as hard. Like I often just have 1 beer, and I don't get drunk at all, and the next day I know I have to go to the gym at 9 in the morning on a Saturday, so I wouldn't go out until 3 on a Friday. Usually I don't do that anymore. And you know what? It feels good. It feels good to leave that part of my life behind. I don't regret doing that when I was younger, but I feel like now, it's behind me. It's past me. I'm 30 now. I have other problems. I have other shit to deal with it than being hungover on a Saturday morning. I don't want to feel like that anymore. So anyways, this Friday I did go out, and I actually went home at 4 a.m., which I haven't done in a while. And because I haven't done it in a while, I felt good about myself while doing it. I didn't feel any remorse or anything. I didn't feel like, even though I slept in on Saturday until like 11:30 or something, which I usually don't do anymore, I didn't feel bad about myself. And I was like, sometimes you got to do that. Sometimes you got to live it up. Sometimes you got to have fun. Which is not to say that you can't have fun when you're being productive and we actually stick to your schedule. You don't need to go out and get wasted on a Friday to have fun. But it can be fun sometimes, you know what I mean? So that was also a good experience, just like what I mentioned earlier with watching South Park. Like the first episode is fun, and the second too, and after that you really have like diminishing positive emotions that you get out of it until it really goes straight down to 0 or even negative. Makes you feel worse by watching more. You have that a little bit with going out too. Like if you go out like really out, really drinking with friends and partying and ending up in a club where everybody's 10 years younger than you and everybody's shit-faced and kind of spilling their drinks all over you, like that level of putting yourself out there, going out there. I think I need that maybe once every 2 or 3 months by now, but then I have a lot of fun. Whereas when I was younger and I would do it 3 times a week, it was always fun. I'm not gonna lie, but it definitely was a lot less fun because it just wasn't that special. If it's not special, then it's not gonna be that fun. Simple as that. So yeah, I took this week to reflect on purpose, and especially because I didn't really have a purpose this week in terms of work. I really noticed that in order to be happy, you need to have a purpose. It's not enough to have free time. It's not enough to only have fun in life. Like, I think a lot of people confuse fun and happiness, or they think they're interchangeable when it's actually not. Like, of course you can have fun, and I do believe you need to have fun and do fun stuff in your life in order to be happy. But you can also be happy while doing stuff that is hard, stuff that is challenging, that is not inherently fun or just easy. And I definitely think that you need that part in your life as well. Like, you cannot only have fun and think you're going to be happy by doing that. I feel like we're in a culture right now in our society where there's so many people who think the best way to live life is to have as much fun as possible, which then leads them to thinking, okay, the best way of working, for example, is to do the least amount of work possible, or even better yet, find a way to, make money as passive income, or do like drop shipping on Amazon. There's all these kind of people. Like, just not get engaged with your work and separate it completely from your rest of the life, that you're actually having fun and that you're actually enjoying. Like, people try to minimize the work that they're doing because they feel like it's taking away from their fun, and that would lead to them having a worse life or having a less happy life, which I really disagree. I'm 100% certain that you need some kind of purpose in your life to live a happy and fulfilled life. And that doesn't have to necessarily be through your job, even though it's a great way, I think, to find purpose. And by the way, you don't have to have like the dream job, or the job where you make a bunch of money, or where you have a lot of responsibility, or where everybody knows you and admires you like a celebrity. You don't need any of that kind of job to find purpose in the work that you're doing. I mean, even if you do like a really low-level job, like flipping burgers at McDonald's, that's something I did when I was like 19. I was straight out of high school. I was gonna start university. I had a summer off, and my mom, smart woman that she is, was like, okay, I'm not gonna let you just lie on the couch for 2 months, because that's not good for you. You're gonna get a job, even though you don't need the money at that point. And, first I was like, fuck, really? Do I have to? This is bullshit. But looking back, it makes sense, because you do need a purpose in life. I mean, I had one day this week where I didn't do anything, and I felt like shit. Imagine what I had felt like if I had done that for an entire summer, for 2 months straight. Just lying on the couch, like, taking turns between jerking off and watching TV, and then going to the fridge and get like more ice cream. What the fuck is that kind of life? But if you work at McDonald's, it's a very simple job. You flip the fucking burgers, and you put the fries in the oil, and you fry them, and then you like sell it to people. Watch them get fat. But I did find some purpose in that. I did it for only 6 weeks, I think, and I kind of hated it to some degree, which I believe is not necessarily a bad thing. It taught me something about the value of working and actually getting up in the morning and doing something that is not only fun. But I started seeing that purpose, and I started, as simple as it sounds, I started getting better at flipping burgers. And I tried to be the most efficient I could be. I tried to do it as well as possible. Like, I became really good at wrapping the burgers in this, paper that you get with it. And they have this sort of technique. I forgot how it goes, of course, but you put the burger upside down, and then you flip it, and basically you're done. And you do that all the time, the entire day. Hundreds and hundreds of burgers every single day, and you become good at it. And even that, I remember that very clearly, gave me a sense of purpose. I was like, okay, today I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna flip a mean burger. Gonna do the best thing I can do with serving burgers, because that's what I get paid for at this point in my life, and this is what I do. This is who I am right now. I'm the guy who flips the burgers, and I'm gonna give it my best. And people started appreciating that. Like, even only in those 6 weeks of a summer job, I had this boss who was probably younger than I am now. Probably was like in his late 20s or something. And I remember him coming up to me the very last day that I worked at that McDonald's. He came up to me and was like, Moritz, just want to thank you for doing a great job the last couple of weeks. It's been a pleasure working with you. If you ever need a job again, like during the summer holidays, give me a call. You can always work here. And that was it, you know. Off I went, and I never went back. Never flipped another burger in my life. But I got that sense of purpose, and in the end I got the sense of appreciation from my boss. And that was a good feeling. And you need that. And what I'm trying to say with that is that you can find purpose in the most minuscule and simple tasks that you're doing throughout your day, in your work, of course, but also, you know, just being a good father or a good mother, being a good friend, being a good son, being a good boyfriend. All of these things are things that you can do shitty. You can be a really shitty husband, you can be a really shitty father, really shitty son, or you can make a pact with yourself that you're gonna give it the best you can. You're gonna do as well as you possibly can. You're gonna keep improving on it, and you're gonna identify with that role that you have either chosen, being a father, being a husband, or something that you were born into, like being a son, being a brother, being part of a family, having some friends. These are things that we only choose to a certain degree. And that's why it is, even though it's not really up to us who our parents are or who our siblings are, it is up to us what we make out of it. And if we choose to find purpose in that, because there is purpose to that, if you're trying, if you want to find purpose in these different roles that you have throughout your life, you can find purpose, you can find meaning, and through that I do believe that you can find happiness. Okay, really feel like I'm preaching here a little bit, going on a rant about life's purpose and happiness. So, okay, maybe I should get a little bit more light topics that I can put out there. Today I did actually already go to the gym. I am being productive. I'm filming this video. Even though it's the first video this week, which I apologize for, I had plans to film more videos this week. I love doing these podcasts, but it is a very different type of format to the videos that I usually put out on this channel. So I definitely don't want to neglect my core audience who loves me for these 5 to 10 minute videos. I am gonna do that more again. This week I was being lazy, different things. I feel a little bit low on ideas, to be honest. And I'm not worried about that. It's something that will come back to me eventually. Like, it comes in waves, you know? Like, sometimes you feel like, okay, I have nothing more to talk about. I have no more to give to my audience. Everything I wanted to share, I shared. And then you start something new in your life, a new hobby, a new job, whatever, a new relationship, a new training regimen. And suddenly you have all these new ideas and new thoughts, and you read a new book or whatever it is, and suddenly you have more content to talk about. So I'm not worried about that right now I don't have that much to say necessarily. But then another reason, honestly, why I didn't film this week is that I'm at the point where I really care about my production value. And I know there's still more to do. I can still improve my videos, but I do care, you know. I don't want to put out a shitty video that people don't enjoy. simply because the production value is not as high as it's supposed to be. And it's not up to the standards that I usually have for myself. So now in Sweden, it is gray and dark every single day, basically from sunrise to sunset, and after that it's just dark. Now it's gray, and then later it goes back to like really dark. So it's like 50 shades of gray fucking weather here in Sweden right now, which leads to my living room not being as bright as it usually is. As you can see behind me, it's already looking kind of dark, even though it's like 12 a.m., 12 p.m., whatever you call it. It's noon. I thought about filming, and I always got so frustrated when I looked at the wall being gray and dark and knowing that it's not going to turn out the way I wanted to, that I did not film the video in the end. And then on top of that, I was having a fucking lazy week and being a lazy bastard. So I apologize for that, for not putting out more videos this week, but there are going to be more in the future. And at least I'm doing the podcast, yeah? Sitting down on my Sunday and talking into a camera for 1 hour straight. I do love it, but it's also a little bit of work, right? So yeah, but today I got up early, I went to the gym, which is awesome. I always feel so much better just getting that done. And I think in the future I'm also maybe... I'm not gonna do that. I would like to... Let's talk about like ideal scenario here. I would like to go to the gym before I go to work, because you feel like you already did something productive. You'd feel like you did something positive, and it just gets you started on the right foot. You know, like you get out of the gym and you're like, shit, already got that handled, got that crossed off my list. What's next? You're ready to conquer the world. And I would like to have that also on a work day, not only on the weekends. But yeah, with the new job, I start at 8 a.m. So I have to get up at 6:30 regularly to be there on time. If I went to the gym before that, I would get up at 5:30 and... shit, I just don't think I can do that right now. At least not in the winter. Like in the summer, it's a different story because sun rises at like 3 a.m. here in Sweden in the summer. But right now, I'm just not up for waking up at fucking 5:30. So I think I'm gonna postpone that indefinitely. But on the weekends, really nice to get up that early, go to the gym first thing before even having breakfast, then having a huge breakfast. I'm on track with my training for the Christmas liftoff. It's coming in like 2.5 weeks. In 2 weeks, I am flying back to Germany to celebrate Christmas with my family and with my girlfriend and my friends, of course, that I always look forward to seeing during that time of the year. It's amazing to still get everyone together. I mean, I'm 30 now, so it would be normal if people have their own family and they do their own shit and they don't come home to their parents anymore and to our hometown, because basically nobody lives in my hometown anymore out of the friends that I have there. But everybody's still coming back, and it's such a small gesture in a way, but it really means a lot to me to see all these friends and hang out with them and just get to have the time to catch up with them. But yeah, I'm getting derailed here. I wanted to talk about the Christmas liftoff because I had a really good workout today. I benched 82.5 kilos, which is my personal record, and which is exactly what I benched 1 year ago at the Christmas liftoff. So I'm hoping that with 2 more weeks of training and 2 more weeks of sleeping well and eating well and just getting my workouts in, I can hopefully beat that personal record and at least get up to 85, if not even 87.5. I mean, that would be pretty awesome. But with beating the personal record, I would already be satisfied. Like 85 is, I think, a good weight for me right now, especially because I'm still kind of skinny, you know, I haven't bulked up as much as I did last year. And I will never bulk up as much as some guys do, like weighing 90 kilos or whatever. I weigh less than 80 right now. So I think that's a good weight and it's a good like level of strength that I'm at right now. So I'm gonna try to maintain that for the next 2 weeks and even amp it up a little bit more, and then I'm quite positive for the liftoff. Gonna be great. I'm gonna be sharing the details after I'm done with it, and I'm already thinking like next year maybe I can like live stream it on YouTube or something. That's always fun. Get the audience a little bit more involved, right? You could all have your own Christmas liftoff at wherever you live. Do it with your friends, you know, and then we compare our personal records. Yeah, but that was definitely satisfying this morning. And now I already cooked like a bunch of brown rice, which is, I think, still the best bulking food there is, if you really want to put on my mass. And you have to find something that you can eat 2 meals at least per day, like for lunch and for dinner. I think brown rice is the way to go. Because you can mix it with so much, right? Like you can mix it with a lot of vegetables, different kinds. You can mix different meat in it, either minced meat or I have some beef left that I think I'm gonna fry now for lunch. You can make chicken, of course. Then what I'm doing is I add a shit ton of coconut oil that adds some extra calories. And at the same time, it's pretty healthy. Everybody wins, right? So yeah, that's what I've been doing today. I think, yeah, I can soon wrap this up because I actually have to meet a friend in like an hour because we're gonna have some coffee and catch up and shit, probably I'm not gonna be talkative at all because I talked for 1 hour straight now again. I always feel a little bit drained after I'm done with this podcast. Like it's a lot of fun for me to do this kind of ranting style, but I do get a little bit drained just talking non-stop because when do you ever get the chance to talk for an hour straight without being interrupted by some other people, right? I mean, usually that's not how a conversation goes, that you're just blah, 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 like word vomiting on people and they just sit there and listen attentively, as you guys hopefully do right now. I mean, unless you're like a politician or like a professional stand-up comedian, you don't really get to do that kind of format. Even if you work in a company and you have to give presentations and you have to hold meetings, it's usually back and forth. At least if it's like a healthy kind of group dynamic. So yeah, the style is unique and it's fun, but afterwards I always feel like, oh, don't want to talk with anyone anymore today. And then I have to spend like an hour editing this video and uploading it to YouTube, which takes surprisingly long, especially if I film it in 4K. So after that, usually I'm a little bit recharged and I can talk to more people. So I think that's what I'm gonna do soon. Anything else I want to share with you guys? I guess not. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap this up here. Happy second Advent. Here's the candle. Candle in the wind. Elton John. Thank you guys so much for watching. I always appreciate getting your feedback, getting your ideas, hearing what you have to say about the content that I'm talking about, hearing from you what you might be working on and what you might be worried of. Because I also like to adjust to that. Like I like to address things that people care about. And right now, mostly I talk about stuff that I care about, you know, because that's the easiest way to go about it. But if you guys have questions or if you guys have ideas of topics that you would like to see me cover, then we can totally do that. I mean, this is not supposed to be a one-way street, even though in a way it is. I mean, I'm talking and you're listening. But it doesn't have to be like that, right? So you can send in your questions, you can comment your ideas if you have some. I'm happy to read them. I'm always happy to interact with you guys, with my audience. And I really appreciate what you have been doing for me these last 12 months. I mean, this year has been a really great year for me. Even though my company is not working out exactly the way I planned it, I think YouTube has been one of my highlights this year, definitely. And professionally, I would say it has been the single biggest highlight, because it is quite an experience to go from like 75 subscribers to 1,500 now. Even though I do realize it's still not a lot, but it's great to find your own voice and find that it resonates with people. And this is a really precious experience to me. It's something that I don't take for granted. And it's something that I will never get tired of thanking you guys for. Alright, but with that being said, I'm gonna wrap it up here. No need to keep this going any further. I said what I wanted to say. Next week, I think I'm gonna be a lot more productive. There's gonna be a lot of new things coming at me through the new job that I'm starting tomorrow morning. So I'm gonna have quite a lot to talk to you about next Sunday. This week, lazy week. Next week, fucking hustling week. That being said, enjoy your Sunday and talk to you soon.